Good afternoon. Good morning, good evening from wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you so much for being here with us. This is Tuesday, the 27th of September. I am so excited and looking forward to the session today. Of course, this is Get It Right with Atara Solutions. For those of you joining us for the first time, Get It Right with Atara Solutions is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. We have been doing this since June 2020. So we are on season 3. Season 1, we did 26 episodes. Season 2, we did 34 episodes. And season 3, I have lost track because we started on 18th of January is when we had our first session for 2022. And we are still here. We have not missed a week. By the way, we have not missed a week, my God. And we are still here until end of November when we shall have a meet and greet session where we are going to meet physically for those who are able to be in Nairobi. And if you're not in Nairobi, I am sure we will try and see how to accommodate the people who might want to join us virtually. But that is going to be a meet and greet. And we are going to, of course, have a panel discussion, and we're going to have fun. We're going to have a cocktail. We're going to just engage, and we're just going to get to meet each other because we've been meeting virtually. And I think it's time we meet now physically as we mark the end of season 3. So we're excited about that. This is going to happen in November, and we will keep you posted. My name is Grace Nzula. I am a HR consultant and trainer with Atara Solutions. Atara Solutions is a HR consulting and training firm. We offer training. We offer HR manager outsourced. We offer HR consulting if you need us to review your policies, if you need us to do recruitment for you, if you need us to train your staff, if you need us to give talks in your organizations, if you also need us to manage your organization because you don't think you need a HR every day, we do that for different organizations. So that's our mandate. And then other than that, we are a team of young people who enjoy making a difference and creating impact in their society. All right, so welcome to Get It Right with Atara Solutions. And with us this evening is none other than Catherine Sindandi. Catherine Sindandi is my co-host. She supports us in being inclusive, making sure that we are attending to as many people as we can. So Catherine Sindandi is our sign language interpreter. Kindly, if you have an event and you're looking for people who can support you in sign language interpretation, please make sure that you're inclusive, because diversity and inclusivity is it's no longer an option. You have to be intentional about it. So please get in touch with Catherine Sindandi so that you can make sure that your events are inclusive and you can make sure that you are attending to everyone in the society. All right. So Get It Right with Atara Solutions is brought to you by, of course, Atara Solutions in partnership with a number of organizations. And allow me to recognize them. I hope my screen does not start misbehaving. I had an issue earlier on, but right, here we are. So Get It Right with Atara Solutions is brought to you by Atara Solutions in partnership with, gosh, what is going on? All right, at the window closed. Let's try that again. Take 2. Here we are. All right, so Get It Right with Atara Solutions is brought to you in partnership with Balcon Housing. Balcon Housing is a real estate and property management firm. If you're looking for a piece of land to buy or sell, then Balcon Housing are your people. We have Stallion Construction Company Limited. Stallion Construction Company, like the name spells it, deal in construction. They can support you in renovating your offices, your homes. They can also help you do interior design. They can help you put up a whole new house altogether. Stallion Construction Company, if you're looking for somebody to change your blinds in the office, change your tiles, subdivide your offices, then Stallion Construction Company will be the people for you. We have Pathway Solution Services. Pathway Solution Services is a training firm. They have been offering our people training on their LMS. LMS is Learning Management System. They have a beautiful, beautiful system that has awesome content, and quite a number of our followers have been able to be engaged in some of the trainings offered by Pathway Solutions. And tonight, we actually have some offers for you. So stay tuned. We will announce that towards the end of the session. And then we have Institute of Pension Management. Institute of Pension Management, like the name spells it, is a pension management institute, but they also have a college. If you're a HR professional here, they actually offer CHRP. They are located on Ojijo Road. So if you're in Westlands town, or if your office is somewhere where Ojijo Road is accessible, then Institute of Pension Management is your people. They also have online sessions for CHRP students. So if you're here and you're wondering where to take on your CHRP, then Institute of Pension Management are your people. They also have a conference coming up for pension management staff. If you're in the organization and you deal with pension management, Institute of Pension Management has the October conference happening next week in Diani. You can reach out to me for more details. So do not feel lost if you're in pension management and you're wondering, where do people get training for this? I know most of us maybe just end up being in HR, but yes, they have courses specific for pension management staff. And then we have Fina Gardens. Fina Gardens is resort located in Naivasha on Moi South Lake. If you're in Naivasha for a conference, if you're looking to take a vacation, solocation, whatever vacation you want to take, then Fina Gardens will be your people. They actually have a swimming pool. Their rooms are quite big and spacious. And if you're coming for the IHRM conference happening in Naivasha, do not be lost on where to stay. Please get in touch with us and we can hook you up with the team. We actually will be running an offer for those of you who will be coming there, and we'll announce beginning of October. And then we have Essence Park. Essence Park is a health and safety consulting company, and they also do waste management. Essence Park, if you're here and you're looking for people who can do audits for you, audits, and I mean health and safety audits, they can do risk audit, they can do NEMA, all the NEMA audits, then Essence Park will be your people. They have an event on the 7th of October where they are launching the waste management platform, but we'll also be having a discussion around health and safety in organizations, and I will be moderating. So see you on 7th of September. And I hope, Madam, you'll send me the flyer so that we can give out more details for that dinner. So mark your calendar next week, Friday, 7th of October. We shall be having a dinner discussing health and safety in the workplace. This will be brought to you by Essence Park Limited. If you're here and you want to also conduct your annual mandatory trainings for your OSH committees, also fire safety and fire marshals and first aid, then Essence Park will be able to support you on that. They also NITA certified, so you can actually claim your reimbursement. And then we have Panessa Training Institute. Panessa Training Institute is a carpentry school. We have an intake for those of you who wish to study upholstery. For those of you who like working with your hands, or you want to repair something and you wish, or you know somebody who wishes to take on an upholstery course, we have an intake for 3rd of October. And then we have another intake from the 15th, which is the Saturday class for carpentry level 1. So if you're here and you ever wanted to chase your passion in woodworking, or you know somebody who would want to do this course, then Panessa Training Institute will be able to help you in that. We have WeClean. WeClean is a carpet cleaning company. They have a machine that cleans your carpet within 6 minutes. Can you believe it? 6 minutes, your carpet is clean. So they promise that if they pick up your carpet today, they will deliver it tomorrow because of the distance. And they do free pickup and delivery around Nairobi. So please do not stay with a dirty carpet, or do not wonder what you will do when your guests come in and you're wondering whether you need to stay without a carpet. No, they actually would help you clean up the carpet for you. And then we have Kapula Mintito. Kapula Mintito sell coastal snacks. For example, Mabuyu, if you know Mabuyu. Mabuyu is baobab, that is from the group of schools. And then they have Mabuyu, they have Simos gel, for those of you who know about Simos gel. They have cashew nuts, among other things. You can check them out on their Instagram page or Facebook page, Kapula Mintito. Or of course, you can get in touch with me. For the men on the call who are in Mombasa, please do not come back without Mabuyus from Kapula Mintito. Send me your orders and they will be delivered at the White Sands. And then we have the Career Management Center. Career Management Center is HR consulting and training firm. They actually have a program for moms who are hoping to bounce back into employment. They walk the journey with you. They support you in building back your confidence. They support you in whatever it is that you would be needing for those of you who took a career break to become moms. So the Career Management Center. And then we have Ames College of Business and Technology, where they offer diploma and certificate courses in all businesses. And of course, with us, we have Kevin Adipo. Kevin Adipo, you can introduce yourself.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are. My name is Kevin Adipo. I work with Atara Solution as a human resource associate, and I'm happy to join you this evening, this morning, or rather this afternoon, wherever you are again, because of today's topic. Today's topic is one topic that I know everyone is looking forward to hearing, taking notes, and always getting something from. Back to you, Grace.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much. And I know this topic tonight. Oh yeah, before I get to talking about the topic, and Kevin, you can let me know what's happening on Facebook. Allow me to also recognize the presence of Herbert Zake. Herbert Zake is, allow me to call you our partner in Kampala. He has really supported us in sharing these flyers with the team in Kampala and all parts of the world that he has access to. Thank you for agreeing to share your networks with us. We really appreciate you, Herbert Zake. If you're on this call and you're looking for a HR consultant in Kampala, Herbert is your go-to person. And of course, our team in Tanzania, I think Edith and Dennis were sharing our flyers in Tanzania. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. I don't know what happened to my friend in Rwanda. I will look for you. Anyway, Peggy, you almost asked where Kevin is. Kevin is here with us. Of course, Kevin is here. All right. So the topic today is we are discussing alcoholism, mental health and alcoholism. And I know this is a topic that is very, very touchy, and it's a topic that's quite personal for a lot of us. And the most amazing thing is that I realized that we actually have functional alcoholics. People who don't think that they're alcoholics, but they are alcoholics. And I'm sure we're in the safe hands of Mr. Evans Olo, who will be taking us through mental health and alcoholism, which is something very interesting. And I'm really looking forward to this. Mr. Evans Olo is, where? Okay. So Mr. Evans Olo is going to introduce himself. I was looking for his profile, and I just realized my WhatsApp is starting afresh. So I guess you will do the introduction yourself. But he has been in this industry for quite some time. And I've seen Liz saying that this is my teacher. I've seen quite a number of people who said I know him. By the way, Sawe said hi to you, Sewe. Mr. Sewe said hello. Yeah. So tell us, and how do we handle this alcoholism? And most of the people on this call are also HR professionals and business owners. And of course, any other professionals are here. And this is sometimes a challenge to us. So please do not hold back. Share as much as you can.
All right. Thank you, Grace, for those kind words and very enthusiastic introduction. I also want to thank Atara Solution and their partners for inviting me to talk about this topic. It's timely, as you have all said. I'm happy to know that there are people who know me. Liz, thank you for your kind words as well. And my regards to Sawe. I've known him for many, many years. So let me introduce myself. I'm Evan Solo, for those of us who may not know me. I'm a consultant psychologist and an addiction professional. Currently, I am clinical director at Intrapersonal Health, but I'm also a former president of ISAP Kenya. That is the International Society for Substance Use Professionals. My job at Intrapersonal Health is to conduct assessment and provide treatment solutions for persons having challenges with mental health. That includes individuals, couples, families, and any other person who may need that kind of help. You probably are wondering what is ICAP 3. That is an international certification. The highest level is level 3. So I am certified as an addiction professional. Besides that, I am also a global trainer with the drug advisory program of the Colombo Plan and the UNODC. The UNODC is the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime. I do a lot of, I provide services within and outside the country. My most recent assignment was in early September, where I was in Islamabad, Pakistan, talking about the same thing that we are talking about today. So that is who I am. I will not go beyond that. I want to dive straight into the topic, but I want to also just give you an outline of how I want to do it. I probably will present first and ask for questions towards the end. But nonetheless, feel free to type whatever questions you have even as we go along. One of the ways that I like doing this is to be interactive and engaging. So I may also ask you to type some things as we proceed. As Grace has mentioned, alcohol and mental health are related, but also alcohol and the workplace is a major thing right now. Employers are finding some challenge with persons with alcohol use disorders in terms of disciplinary issues, in terms of the cost of treatment and insurance, and simply lack of productivity. So it's important that we understand, one, what it is, and secondly, what we can do about it. HR managers will really agree with me that that is what is going on. So in terms of alcohol and other drugs, what I want to call substance use, there is a relationship with mental health. Mental health generally has to do with our behavior, our moods, our thoughts, and our sensory perception. And one of the reasons why alcohol or substances and drugs are related to mental health is because they tend to affect our moods. Our moods is a component of our mental health. So when we take probably a substance like weed, we will have our moods affected, our thoughts, our sensory perception. There are drugs that make people see things that are not there. And of course, our behavior can be the behavior that we did not intend to have. So that is one of the links. And the reason why this is so is because the substances we take are called psychoactive substances. Psychoactive substances are those substances that cross the blood-brain barrier. Now, let me explain a bit of that. So don't worry, I'll not get more technical. This is the only part I'm going to be technical, and then I make it a bit lighter and easier for the rest of us. When we have problems, either with our marriage or any other things, usually the problem is external to us. But when we take alcohol and drugs, the key difference is that alcohol and drugs go to the brain. You know, people really don't think much about that, but that is the reality. You know, the brain is protected by at two levels. One is the skull, and then beneath the skull, there is a protective layer of tightly held cells called the blood-brain barrier. Those cells allow only small molecules and fat-soluble molecules to go through. Drugs like weed are fat-soluble, so they go through that blood-brain barrier to the brain. Alcohol is small, the molecule is small, so that's how alcohol gets to the brain. Now, this information is important. It explains why there is a problem with mental health when we engage in alcohol and drugs. I will jump straight to talk about alcohol as the main focus, but this applies, whatever we'll talk about applies across board, applies to all psychoactive drugs. And probably at this point, I will ask you to type in what psychoactive drugs do you know of? What have you heard of outside the alcohol? Please go ahead and type in any that you have heard of. And feel free, weed. So somebody has said they've heard of weed, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, LSD. And feel free to use the local lingua, lugha ya mtaani, mogoka, ecstasy. So those are some of the drugs, Mira, Kuber, so Bang, Molly. So those are some of the drugs that are out there, including Lift. So all these drugs you have mentioned as substances are what we call psychoactive substances. They have DOM, yes. I remember we used to call that growing up, we used to call it DOM. All that is classified under psychoactive substances. What they do, the key thing that is common amongst all of them is that they cross the blood-brain barrier and go to the brain. Now, alcohol is one of those substances. You know, we tend to forget that alcohol is actually a psychoactive substance. The molecule of alcohol is small enough to cross that barrier and get to the brain. We need to understand what alcohol is. Alcohol to the brain is a depressant. What that means, contrary to popular opinion and belief, alcohol is not a stimulant. Ukikunywa ukue na maraha na sherehe is not necessarily because it is a stimulant. What it does to the brain is that it depresses the sections of the brain. I will tell you that as we proceed. Other drugs act differently on the brain. For example, I have seen here people talk about shisha, a combination of many things. The marijuana does different things to the brain. At times it depresses the brain, at times it makes the brain and the nervous system excited. Things like cocaine and cigarettes excite the brain. And that's why people are active, want to do a lot of things, the brain moves faster. Some drugs, like a drug called LSD, they produce hallucinations. So for alcohol, it's a depressant. To the body, alcohol is a poison. From the moment it touches your tongue, actually the body wants to get rid of it because the body doesn't know the sweetness that we associate alcohol with. The body wants to get rid of alcohol because alcohol to the body is a poison. So that is important to know about alcohol. So what happens to better understand alcoholism? I want just to take you through a bit of what we call pharmacology, because it explains a lot of the challenges we have with alcohol and its relationship to the brain. So let me ask you, for those of us who indulge in alcohol, for those of us who have tasted alcohol. So what happens when you take alcohol? What do you feel? Let's talk about the first bottle, whatever brand you enjoy. What normally happens to you? You get giddy. So somebody has said they get giddy, excitement. They start laughing. They are happy. The urge to keep on talking. So that is just the relaxed, all right? So that is just the first bottle. Probably it is a Tusker. Somebody says they speak English. That's when they take their drink, they are able to speak English. Somebody says they are high, the throat is dry and they're excited. What happens when you take more than, you speak in tongues? So what happens when you take more than 3 bottles of Tusker, let's say, or 3 shots of Jack Daniels or Jameson? What happens then? So you get slow and sleepy, you start staggering, head becomes heavy. So there are many things that people are reporting here. Somebody talks about being loud. Absolutely, that is very interesting, because it's important to know why we do that if you want to understand alcoholism and mental health. Now, what has been discovered is that alcohol, once it gets to the mouth, actually, depending on the alcoholic drink you are taking, it gets straight to the brain. If you're taking whiskey, right from the tongue, it will get into the bloodstream and to the brain. If it's beer or wine, it tends to go to the stomach and intestines, and it is absorbed through the bloodstream and goes to the brain. But when it gets to the brain, because it crosses the blood-brain barrier, this is what happens to us. When you take the first drink, and let's take the example of beer, that is a Tusker. When the first Tusker has landed on your table and you have downed it and you're taking the second one, what normally starts to happen is this. One, there is lowered inhibition. you start doing things that probably you would not do if you had not taken. So, and that is because it has gone to the brain. Remember, the brain is the one responsible for many things that we do. Secondly, we start interpreting events incorrectly. You start seeing the chick next to you suddenly has become very beautiful, and you wonder, why are you sitting here all this time? The guy next to you suddenly has 6 packs, and when he came, he had a big stomach. That is because your interpretation of things are distorted. But an important part of this, and I'm giving an example, when you take about 2 beers, bottle of beers, in relation to correctly not interpreting events, is that we have slowed reaction time. What that means, because the brain and the nervous system are the responsible for your actions, it means that you will take time, for example, to step on the brakes when you're driving. You will be slower to avoid another car. When we take 2 bottles, the blood alcohol content rises to something called 0.35. Now, if you have checked the traffic laws, 0.35 is the driving limit. That is why NTSA stops you with alcohol below. That the moment you have taken 2 beers, your blood alcohol content has gone beyond what the law allows. Why? Because you are now slower in how you respond. And I will talk about that at some point, how to avoid being arrested by NTSA. But just know that that is what happens. Assuming you take more than 4, you get to 4 taskers. 4 taskers to 5 starts, remember I said alcohol is a depressant. It starts to diminish your experience to pain. Now, that is good and bad because alcohol, remember, used to be an anesthesia a long time ago. It was used as something for operations. But diminished response to pain is the reason why we will not feel pain until the morning. You find somebody will drink, they will fall on the ditch, they step on thorns, they are hit by a bottle, they are okay. They will only discover that in the morning. The reason is alcohol is a depressant. Alcohol is an anesthesia. The moment it gets to the brain at that level, it's an anesthesia. Second thing that happens is the first warning signs that the alcohol is too much in the body starts to show. We start to vomit. Vomit is a sign that the body says, you have taken too much, please stop. But what do we do when we vomit? We say, sasa hata nafasi imepatikana of adding some more alcoholic drink. But the body was telling us, wait, this is a poisonous thing. I want you to get it out. But let me say at this point here that when we vomit also, it could be indication of liver problems, damage as a result of alcohol use. When we go past 8 taskers, and I'm talking about taskers here and beer basically, then the depressive effects of alcohol set in. 9 bottles, 10 bottles, 12 bottles plus, the body the temperature starts to go down. Meaning that there is something that is happening to the brain and the body when we take alcohol. So this is important because of what I will say later, but it is good to understand. So this is what happens to alcohol, to us when you take alcohol. At the brain level, because it crosses the blood-brain barrier, but also in terms of our behavior and in terms of our physiological functioning. I have given the example of alcohol. So you might be saying, like, mimi sikunywi pombe, mimi ukunywa tu wine. Well, if you did not know, wine ni pombe. Wine is a form of alcohol. In fact, if you look at the screen, there are 3 bottles. That is the tall glass for beer, then there's the middle glass for wine, and then the last small glass for whiskey. If you look at the blood alcohol content of beer, let's say the 330 ml Tasker, it's actually 4.2%. But if you look at the alcohol content of wine, a 750 bottle of wine, it is 12% alcohol content, meaning, and this is what science has discovered, meaning a 750 bottle of wine contains 5 bottles of Tusker, 330 ml. And you find people saying, Mimi hata sikunywi pombe. Look at those people there, they're drinking beer, they're getting so high. By the time they do their bottle and you have finished your glass, you are in the same WhatsApp group. By the time they take their second bottle and you take your second glass of wine, you are in the same WhatsApp group. The effect, the impact is the same because wine has a higher alcohol content. Let's look at those people who take the whiskeys and the gins and the Jamesons and the Smirnoffs. Whiskey and liquor is almost 40% alcohol content, 750 ml of Jameson. What science has shown is that it contains 18 Tuskers of 330 ml. So by the time you are doing your umechapa half a glass of Mzinga, you have done half a bottle of whiskey, you have done 9 beers. So why is this information important? Like I said, the more you take, the more it impacts on you. Now, what has been discovered is that it takes roughly 30 to 40 minutes for the bottle of beer to be processed through your body. It takes 30 to 40 minutes for a glass of wine, not a bottle, just one glass of wine to be processed through the body. It takes 30 to 40 minutes for a shot of whiskey to be processed through the body. That is why you start feeling the impact 30 minutes down the line. You normally don't feel the impact, you start feeling it 30 minutes down the line because now it has hit the brain. It has gone to the bloodstream, it has hit the brain, and it starts to do the impact it has on the brain. But let me say something here that is very, very important. That if you are to take 2 bottles of Tusker within a space of 1 hour, only 1 bottle of Tusker will be processed. The other one will circulate in your system. If you take 2 glasses of wine within 1 hour, only 1 glass will be processed. If you take a shot of whiskey within 1 hour, 2 of them, only 1 will be processed. The same applies to if you take 5 bottles of Tusker within 1 hour, only 1 will be processed. And yet we know there are people who quickly down Tusker, ya kwanza, ya pili, and then they say, all right, now I'm relaxed, let's talk more. What they don't know is that only 1, the body will only process 1 every 45 minutes. 1 every 45 minutes. The question is, where are the others? The others are circulating in your system, and that's how people get overwhelmed. When you take wine and you drink it like you're drinking water, I mean, they have said, pombe sio maji. When you do that and you quickly down it, or you take whiskey and you chase it very quickly, you have taken it and it's within 1 hour, you have cleared a bottle, you are putting your life at risk because only 1 will be processed within that 1 hour. Some time back, there was a viral video of a lady who was 1 minute seen drinking gin, and the next minute she was almost dying. That is because when the system, remember, they go to the brain. When the brain receives it, it is a depressant. It starts to shut down critical functions of the brain. Breathing is one of them. The medulla oblongata is depressed. The next thing that is depressed is your ability to be awake. People have died as a result of that. So one of the things we tell people is that if you must drink 1 bottle, drink 1 glass, drink 1 shot every 30 minutes. I know that is hard for some of us, but that is the only way that you will be okay. If you don't do that, then you need to chase with a lot of water or food or meat. If you don't do that, then you're putting your life at risk. What about ladies? Does this apply to everyone? I have news for you. Alcohol consumption is also gender considerate, if I may use that word. men and women are not biologically built the same to handle alcohol. Men have what an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase. It's the enzyme that breaks down alcohol. It is more in men, less in women. What does that mean? What that means is that a woman should not drink as much as a man. And for the feminists and gender activists, I am not saying anything negative here. I'm actually saying something good. Because many women have found themselves in trouble when they're trying to drink at the same rate, and biologically their body doesn't have that enzyme. So if you find a woman who drinks at your pace, ukiitisha, ukipewa, unapewa, then probably that woman has an alcohol problem. And the thing that we are saying is, therefore, don't drink at the pace of a man, because alcohol reacts differently depending on the gender. Women will suffer more as a result of the alcohol consumption as compared to men. So that is what alcohol does in a brief. And what I've said is partly true across board for all drugs. But drinking alcohol alone is not a problem. So I'm not here to say don't drink alcohol, but there's a way that people can drink alcohol that can lead to problem. And I want to look at that. When somebody has a problem with alcohol, what are some of the things that you see? What behaviors have you seen? Please feel free to type in and just share. When we say that somebody has a problem, what are some of the signs and symptoms that this person has a problem with alcohol? Shaky hands, so that is one of the things, and that is at a high level of the addiction. So shaky hands is one. What else do you see when somebody has a problem? They can't function without taking it, sweats a lot, reduce in performance, lack of body balance, sleepy all the time, can't do slow productivity. Yes, some of the things, charred lips, yes, that's some of the things you have written are true for persons with alcohol problems. But these signs and symptoms don't come all at once. The problem with alcohol, what we call alcoholism, is actually a gradual process. It starts off usually as a social drink. Many of us do that. We engage in social drinking. We have cocktails. There's a plan for a cocktail, and we take a bit of it and we enjoy ourselves in a function, especially when we go for the Naivashas and the Mombasas and these are meetings. That's where we drink. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me be very clear. The problem starts to set in when we engage in what is called binge drinking. There are people who don't drink, but when they drink a lot. In fact, it is said that it's better you drink that small every day than to drink a lot all at once. Why? Because binge drinking raises the blood sugar levels in the brain. And when they suddenly drop, you put you at risk of having brain damage. So that is part of the problem when we start to drink a lot at once. So we tell people, please, 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 you must probably, and this is WHO's recommendation, don't binge drink. When we start drinking to deal with something, I'm bored, I drink. I am anxious, I drink. So that is where the problem starts to come in. One of the key things that happen at the beginning of alcohol problems is something called tolerance. Tolerance is where you discover that one tasker is no longer giving me the giddy feeling, so I need two. Then you discover two is no longer giving me the giddy feeling, I need three. And then you discover actually beer is not even working, let me now start mixing. Then you shift completely from beer to whiskeys and liquor. And before long, you are mixing that with other hard drugs. Tolerance, one of the early signs that probably you have an issue. To avoid tolerance, space out your drinking. Space out your drinking. But that is one of the key indicators. And we say that those are the early signs of problems with drinking. Then as we proceed, the other sign that we have a problem is that it begins to show. When people start questioning, what happened to you? Yesterday, where were you? How come you never came the time you're supposed to come? Then the drinking that we enjoy during cocktail now is becoming a problem. where your wife or your spouse starts to wonder about you. And the key thing that happens here is that we end up getting wasted. You know, people talk about Jana, we were wasted proper. And we end up also critical red flag, violating our own values. When you start doing things because of alcohol that you actually under normal circumstances would not do, and you start feeling guilty about it, that is one of the red flags, that you are sliding away from just drinking socially to drinking in ways that is problematic. People will, for example, stop being properly groomed. You are violating your own values. You start missing things that otherwise you would attend. I have known people who have found themselves in other people's beds that they never imagined they would get there. If that happens to you more than once, then the alcohol is becoming a problem and it's a red flag. People taking money that was not meant for them. People start to lie about where they were. So those are some of the red flags. It's an early sign that something is going on. If that continues for long, and this can take years and it can take shorter than a few months, we get to what we call the age stage of alcohol problems, also referred to as addiction. Here, the individual starts to experience proper problems of addiction. These are the blackouts. Now, blackout is not passing out. Passing out is where you drink and you faint. Blackout is where you drink and you cannot remember what happened. We have had people say that the car just found its way home. You cannot remember what happened. That is serious because, like I said, the molecules of alcohol get to the brain. They start to deplete the memory cells. So one of the key indicators when you are forgetful and you cannot remember who you talked to, there are people that will tell you the story again and again and again, the same point, and you wonder what's happening with you. That is an indication of blackout. Together with blackout, there's something called confabulation. They start to tell lies. Now, they are not lies that are deliberate lies. They are lies because they cannot account for their time. I know of somebody who the wife called around 5 in the evening and told him, come home, buy milk and bread. And the person said, yes, I'm along Jogo Road. And this is a true story. I will get by 6, 7, I'll be home with milk and bread. The guy came back in the morning, of course, with milk and bread, but that was not the time he was supposed to come. So the wife wondered, so where were you? The guy gave a story and a half. He said, oh my goodness, we were on Jogo Road. Punde Sipunde tags came. So there was shootout. So we ran into the game park up Jogo Road. We ran inside. So I stayed there and I was waiting for safety. And at some point, darkness fell upon us. Then the thugs came where we were. Then police were following them there and there was a shootout. So I had to hide until morning and here I am. The wife said, this is craziness. And you know, the reason why the guy was giving that story is because of blackouts. He could not remember. Between the time the wife called and said, bring milk and bread, he got into a pub and that was the last he recalls until morning. That happens many times and that is one of the indicators there is a problem with you. We have the morning drink, kutawalok, that you have to drink to feel normal. When you do that, that's no, you have a problem. We have the withdrawal. Some people imagine hangover is normal. There is hangover, but then there is withdrawal. Withdrawal is whereby you can shake. Your hands are shaky. You get an experience of confusion. You sweat a lot. That is a withdrawal. For some people, they have nightmares. And the nightmares only go away when they drink. That is the beginning of, there's a problem here. We are no longer dealing with the social drink. We're no longer dealing with happiness. There is a problem that you are dealing with here. The withdrawals, the nightmares. I've had somebody say that they dream about rats, big rats chasing them. And he thought, my goodness, I must be running crazy. Yet that was withdrawal. They continue using in spite of consequences. They're told, I will sack you. They continue use. The doctor says, stop doing. They continue use. If that happens many times, one of the key indicators is that the person has lost control. And the reason why this is so is because of what I am showing you on the screen right now. When we get to the last stage of addiction, there is a change in the brain chemistry and there's a change in the brain physiology. The image you see on your screen, the one with the yellow is the brain of some of us. It's my brain and your brain, I'm assuming. The one you see with a lot of blue is the brain of the alcoholic. These are images under MRI. This is the brain of the person you are trying to tell, don't do ABCD. The brain chemistry has changed. The yellow shows that the brain is healthy and active. The blue shows that the brain is no longer active. It is a depressed brain. Yet this person is coming to work. This person is continuing with things. This person has a family, but the brain has changed. Another cross-sectional image is what you see on the screen. The scan of the brain with many dark parts, that is the brain of the 43-year-old alcoholic. The scan of a normal brain doesn't have the many dark spaces. In fact, if you look closely, the space between the skull and the brain for the alcoholic has shrunk. The truth is, alcohol actually shrinks the brain. That is why the person cannot do some things. That is why the person cannot make decisions and stick to them. The brain is the heart of many things we do. That is why they cannot have emotional control. The person gets angry. The brain is responsible for that. So the end stage of taking too much alcohol is that there is a brain change. And when that happens, I said that the mood is going to change, and that is where the connection with mental health comes in. We actually say that at that point, the person has a disease of the brain. What we have discovered, and what science has discovered from research, is roughly 45% of persons with alcohol problems also have a mental disorder, either as a result of the alcohol or because they initially had and they used alcohol for self-medication. Some of the common mental disorders that have been found is depression. Long-term use of alcohol triggers depression. So you actually become depressed. I've said alcohol is a depressant to start with. Bipolar disorders, anxiety disorders. Contrary to what you expect, that if I drink alcohol, I'll be calm, it actually makes you more anxious. Then you have to continue drinking to cover your anxiety. Then you continue and then you become more anxious and becomes a vicious cycle. Some people use because they had a mental challenge in the first place. And this is important when you are dealing with treatment for substance use disorders, that it's important that we also treat a mental disorder if that is the thing. Post-traumatic stress is another reason why people have developed as a result of alcohol use disorder. There was a guy who suffered loss. Their family died in a tragic road accident. He couldn't sleep for long. He was a preacher come worker. So after the burial, he had to go back to work. But he discovered that when he was at work, he slept because he was not sleeping. He was just thinking about how bad things had become. His brother realized that and told him, let's go for a talk. The brother took him to a restaurant where they sell alcohol. This guy never used to drink alcohol. So he was given alcohol to drink. That night after drinking alcohol, he slept like a baby. Many years later, when he came for treatment, he could not remember how it started. But it started as a result of the trauma of losing loved ones. Many people drink because they're trying to manage a traumatic event. And it's important that when people are being treated, they're also not just treated for the alcohol and drugs, they're also treated for their disorder. Alcohol use is associated with roughly up to 50% of suicides. People who are either withdrawing, who are depressed, will commit suicide, and alcohol has been known to be a major factor. So alcohol is connected to mental health issues. So very quickly, lastly, what then can we do? One of the things, like I said, is I'm not here to tell you not to drink, but I'm here to tell you, you can drink in ways that not cause you harm. We call that reduce the harm. It is said that the WHO says that if you're a man, you can drink up to 2 beers in any one sitting, or 2 glasses of wine, or 1 whiskey, a shot of whiskey in any one sitting, not more than that. And if you're a woman, you drink only 1. And if you do that in a week, the recommendation is that at least Give yourself 3 days of rest in a week. Many people don't do that, but that is recommended if you want to reduce getting to the point of being addicted. Secondly, like I said, drink over a period of time. You know, in the olden days, it said Kibaki and others, they would drink slowly a whole night. Today, we want to drink within 1 hour. We are going to a bash. We want to drink everything within 1 hour. It takes roughly 45 minutes for alcohol to be processed, 1 bottle. So take time, you reduce harm. Secondly, mix the alcohol if you're taking whiskey with a chaser, lots of water and good food. The other thing that you can do to reduce harm is to deal with trauma and stress-related things. It's been known to be a factor that makes people drink. Raise awareness the way we are doing now, that you know what, you don't need to drink some drinks within that period. You are going to harm yourself. And lastly, when it is a bit too much, we always say seek treatment, seek help. So very briefly, that is the presentation I had, and I know I was told that we finish at around 9. Maybe in the next 10 minutes or so, I will take a few questions if you have any.
Grace, you are muted, sorry.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, so I'm seeing a question here. What about Vikombe or Senator Keg? That is a keg na Vikombe, that is beer. Like I said, beer is low on alcohol content.
All right, Mr. Evans, as we wait for Grace, we have a question here from Samora Ogendo. Would you recommend, what of the argument that a woman's body has more fat compared to males who have more water, and that fat retains the alcohol and water absorbs the alcohol?
Very, very, very good question. So women, it is true, women have more fat as compared to water. Remember, I said that alcohol, the molecule of alcohol, one is small, but it's also water soluble. It's not fat soluble. So what that means is that it is going to dissolve faster when with a body that has more water, and that is a man's body. More slower in a body that has more fat, and that's a woman's body. Women will do better when if they take weed. Weed is fat soluble as compared to alcohol. So they probably should take more weed than alcohol, but no, I'm not saying that they should. But yes, that is true. So the fact that they have water in their body, less water in their body, the alcohol is not dissolved quickly. If it is not dissolved quickly, it's not broken down quickly. If it's not broken down quickly, the effects of pure alcohol are present more in a woman, less in a man.
Great. On to the next question. We have, talking of weed, there's a lady here, Caroline Njagiru. Does weed affect the brain in the same way as alcohol?
Absolutely. The images of the brain with weed, with cocaine, with heroin is the same as the images of alcohol. It affects the active part of the brain, but the weed does much more than just the alcohol. Weed will affect the motivational center of the brain, so that people who have taken weed will find that they are not motivated. They will stop doing things. They don't want to go to work. They don't want to go to school. That is because the weed is actually affecting the center of the brain responsible for emotions. And secondly, weed also affects the part of the brain responsible for thinking and memory. So there is a lot more memory loss as compared to the alcohol. But alcohol, yes, does produce memory loss. What is the main, if I may take a question I've seen on the WhatsApp, what is the main purpose of the blood-brain barrier? It protects the brain from harmful organisms, chemicals. Do you know that not all medicine we take go to the brain? Antibiotics don't go to the brain. Aspirin does not go to the brain. In fact, if you have a brain infection, you will be injected through the spinal cord. That's where you're going to be injected with the antibiotic because the blood-brain barrier protects it. Funny thing, psychoactive substances are found a way to pass the blood-brain barrier.
Wow, thank you for that feedback. There is a question here, and I believe it's a question that many HRs or employers are struggling with. How can one support an alcoholic employee?
Absolutely wonderful question. We normally say that one of the things we can do for them is not to encourage that behavior. How? You know, HR will eventually give somebody else the work that the alcoholic was doing and still keep them. That is called enabling behavior. We are enabling them to continue that way. So you say, oh, you are not effective. Let me give the next top person. It seems to be more effective. It's going to deliver more on time. So that is enabling behavior. We say, don't do that. Secondly, don't stop them from facing the consequences. We know part of enabling is where the spouse will call and say, oh, the husband is sick or the husband has done this. Well, it's the reality is that the husband is nursing a hangover. But thirdly, what HR can do, at times people don't know what is causing them to drink. So HR can organize awareness sessions where they help them realize, oh my goodness, so I should reduce my drinking. I should drink less harmfully. I should space my drinking. Or to help them realize that they have a problem by showing them the signs I've mentioned so that they can seek help. And of course, lastly, very important, if the person meets the criteria and they are missing out on work, the policy is not to kick them out, but the policy is to help them seek treatment. Some of this cannot be helped by retaining them to continue in the workplace and they are missing. It's better they go out for treatment and then come back when they are ready. So treatment is very important for those employees who meet the criteria, but we help to see whether they meet the criteria through awareness talks and through something called assessment.
Okay, I think that answers the question to one Unita Esther, who was asking how can one support an alcoholic partner or drinks every day and has addiction symptoms, even withdrawal, especially when they are willing but keep relapsing. Here is another question from Liz Njau. Can treatment be imposed?
Absolutely, treatment can be imposed. And the same will also say that absolutely treatment should not be imposed. There are times we are saying alcoholism is a disease of the brain. When you have somebody who is sick, every measure should be taken to help them because they are not in their right space of mind. If we wait for people to volunteer to be treated and the people we are waiting for are people whose brain we have seen, that person is not thinking straight. So he may probably not volunteer. He may just continue going down the drain. So there is a place where treatment can be imposed. HR have the power to do that. I've seen many clients who have been referred by HR organizations and they have demanded that you go and let me get a report that you're in treatment. And if you don't do that, we shall take other forms of disciplinary courses. That forces the person to come for treatment. So to that extent, yes. But for treatment to work, the person also needs to be willing to change. One point I want to emphasize, somebody has mentioned it here, that addiction is a disease of the brain. Why do we say that? One, because it changes the brain structure and the way the brain communicates. But secondly, think about it. Just think of the alcoholic or the drug user that you know, that you have seen. It may be a relative, it may be an employee, it may be a colleague. Who in his right mind or who in our right mind wants to be sacked from work, wants to develop liver disease, wants to miss their children's functions, want to eat the entire school fees, want to eat the rent? Who in his right mind? No one, unless of course they're sick. No one wants to hurt themselves. Yet what alcohol and alcoholics do, their behavior is hurting them. you are at risk of being fired. So that what happens? So that your family sleeps out in the cold, so that the school fees is missing. That is not the behavior of a normal person. That is the behavior of a sick person. That's why we say addiction is a disease. And a sick person, therefore, should be waited upon to decide when to be treated. They need to be helped before they make that decision themselves.
Wow. Wow, the questions keep streaming in. We have Faith Anyonje who says, I know someone who started staggering, and at work they thought it was alcoholism, only to be found to have brain tumor and later passed on. So we need to have more interactive sessions with employees to try find help for them. I think we have a question from Mwenda. Can the brain change after quitting alcohol?
Absolutely wonderful question. Yes, the brain can change. The brain has been discovered to be elastic, meaning the same way, together with the liver, the brain and the liver have been discovered to be elastic. The more you use, the more it changes. But the more you stop using, the more it reverts back. Both the brain and the liver revert back to normal. However, that is only up to a point. There's a point where there is permanent brain damage when you take alcohol, something called Korsakoff-Sakharov syndrome. It's where the person, even if they stop drinking, they appear like they're high all the time. They stagger and you wonder what's wrong with you. And they tell you, I got saved 10 years ago, I stopped drinking, but the symptom seems to be present. That's a permanent damage. The same with the liver. There's a point where the liver cannot be helped. The liver, because alcohol goes to the liver. Everything we eat, everything, all the medicine we take, go to the liver for processing. When the liver is overworked, then one of the early signs is that, of course, there'll be a yellowing of the eyes, but also there will be vomiting. Vomiting is not simply about that you have taken too much. Vomiting could be an indication that there's a liver problem. Another indication is that you used to drink 10 beers without getting high, but now you drink 3 and you're high. It could be indication of a liver problem because the liver is no longer breaking down the alcohol. But when you stop, if it's not reached the stage of not reversal, what we call liver cirrhosis, then the liver tends to go back, and the same applies to the brain.
Wow. Wow. There's Liz Njau here say, I request we host Miss Solo again. Definitely we're gonna do that in due course. I know he didn't exhaust as alcoholism is a very broad discussion. Meanwhile, a drug and substance abuse will do. Thanks a lot, Mr. President. And we have, I think, I've seen here from alcohol caused by Gary Kabuthu.
Repeat the question. I think you are breaking a bit.
All right. There's a question here by Gary Kabuthu. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can clearly.
Yes. She is requesting, how about the alcoholism that is caused by our workplaces? I tend to think that is because of either being depressed or so on. What can you say about that?
Actually, too much work and inability to handle stress and to balance work life can lead to alcohol use. The reason is this: when we overwork, we want to reward the brain, and we want to decompress, and that's where alcoholism comes in. Alcohol triggers a neurochemical called dopamine. Dopamine is a feel-good drug. When we take alcohol, the dopamine in the body is multiplied 10, 20 times. Dopamine is the is the neurochemical we have when we eat good food. When you're biting your nyama choma, dopamine is released. So it's a feel-good chemical. When we are praised by people, when they say, wow, you're looking so good, you have done a good job, dopamine is raised. When we have sexual interactions, dopamine is raised. Now, the funny thing is this: alcohol and drugs produce 100 times more dopamine. So when we are stressed, we will want to release dopamine so that we feel good, so that we decompress, so that we deal with our stress. It's not the best way to do that, but that's the relationship between the work, stress, and the too much work and alcohol. We tell people probably you need to decompress in other ways. Find other ways of producing dopamine. Like I said, sex is one of those good ways. To those who that is possible and allowed under the law. Another way, of course, is to do exercise. If you do exercise, go to the gym, you release dopamine. And that is one of the ways of decompressing when work is too much or when you have challenges at work. But besides that, it's also good to have skills of managing stress at work so that you don't resort to alcohol use.
Can we hear from you?
Yes, I am back. Technology did a number on me, but I am happy that I have great support. Thank you for that, Kevin. And I was listening a bit on my phone, and but now I'm back. And Mr. Olo, there's somebody who had said that if you have been drinking responsibly and then you stop, you mess your body more than if you continue to drink, especially if you've drank for like, I don't know how many years. Is it true?
Yes, it is true, but let me clarify. For persons who have developed the symptoms associated with alcoholism, they should not stop suddenly. I know people with the best of intentions, family members, you try to hide alcohol from them, hoping that they will stop. Their workplace, they try to do that. If we do that, because the body had gotten used to the presence of alcohol, the person can go into serious withdrawal that is associated and has led to death. People can actually die if that happens. So we tend to help people to detox gradually. That is where the whole concept of going for detox comes in. Detox is where you reduce your intake gradually, so it leaves your body gradually without causing harm. If you leave suddenly, you will go into the shakes. Shaking is not just that the person is shaking, but the person is saying that the person is having challenges at a brain level. So the person can actually damage their brain. The person can get into what is called delirium tremens, where the person is confused, is screaming. And if you have never seen this, if you should see people when they're brought to rehab, the person is actually almost on the verge of being crazy. Delirium tremens is the second stage of withdrawal. Typical, if somebody drank the whole 3 days straight and suddenly stopped, 8 hours down the line, they will go into confusion. 10 hours down the line, if they're not checked into a hospital, they can kill themselves, because there will be a sudden drop and there's a lack of loss of control at the brain level. So that is why the detox is a gradual thing. But if you stop drinking and you have not reached that stage, it's even a good thing. You will go back to pre-tolerance levels.
Wow. Interesting insight. And I don't know whether you've covered this. I know Nick had asked that you educate us on drinking cheap alcohol, for lack of a better word. I am paraphrasing. Yeah.
Drinking cheap alcohol. The cheap alcohol that I know of that, well, the cheap beer is Busa and the Kobero and Murat's. Then the cheap liquor is the Changa. I would recommend that when it comes to liquor, Changa, that is not a good option because of the high alcohol content. When it comes to the beer, the cheap beer is fine, it's okay. The Murats, people have drank Murats for a long time, the Busas. The key thing is to limit the intake and to use it less harmfully. How do you limit the intake? If you have to take Busa 2 cups or 3 cups, take it over a space of time. Drink 1 Busa for 1 hour, one cup of Busa for 1 hour. drink a cup of Murat's for 1 hour. If you have to drink charm, now the problem with charm is that if you drink charm even for 1 hour, you're still putting your life at risk. Why? Because charm, unlike the whiskey that is bottled, is actually even higher in alcohol content. We are talking about Jack Daniel's mine of doing 40%. Charm is 50%. What is called 100 proof of alcohol. That is the type that if you put a light, it goes up. If you have matchstick, it goes up in flames. The reason why that is so is that because they have over distilled charm. You know, whiskey is made differently from beer and from wine. Beer and wine are fermented. Whiskey is distilled. That's why now you get the vapor. It's clear, transparent liquid. But the problem is that it has a much higher alcohol content. The higher the alcohol content, the stronger the addiction, the more damage it can do, because it is a depressant. The higher the alcohol content, it is going to slow down the regions of the brain. So people can actually choke while trying to go to sleep. In fact, we say that if somebody has been drinking for long and they are now falling asleep, don't allow them to fall asleep. You need to ask, what have you drank and for how long have you drank? Because that falling asleep may not be falling asleep. It may be the brain is shutting down, and people have suffered that. So yes.
when we see people in clubs blacking out,
when you see people falling, it's good to find out what have you taken, how long have you taken? If they have taken too much beyond, let's say 12 bottles or a whole bottle of whiskey, that blacking out is good. It's not good. That's dangerous, especially if they are taking it by themselves. But beyond that, it's possible you want to find out what else have they taken. There is this drug called Rohypnol. You probably have heard of it. It's called Chele in local language. It's what people put in drinks. So if somebody is blacking out, they could be suffering from their drink has been spiked. And that's why that is going on. But if not, the drink has been spiked, it's important to know how much of this alcohol have you taken? What alcohol have you taken? If it's beers, have you taken over 12? If it's whiskey, have you drank more than a bottle? How long have you drank it? I'm asleep and I've drank whiskey for 2 hours, a whole bottle. That is dangerous. That's somebody who's not passing out. That is somebody whose brain is shutting down.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. And my second last question. I think 2 people have asked this. Hello, Daktari. They say a glass of wine is good for the heart. Can you demystify this? There's somebody who had also said that it's good for digestion.
Absolutely. A glass of wine is good for the heart, is good for digestion. It has certain nutrients that are of value. The way it's broken down, if it's a glass, the challenge of the glass is this: wine triggers dopamine, so it gives you a good feeling. It triggers serotonin. So you will say, let me just add a bit more of this glass of wine that is good for the heart and good for the soul. Before you know it, the next day when you come to do one, you will say, I'm not feeling what I felt yesterday, so let me take 2. The 4th day, you'll come and you'll start wanting more. If one can truly be disciplined and take one, the WHO recommends, the World Health Organization recommends two glasses of wine in one sitting. If one can do that, and they do that 4 days in a week of 7, then that is okay. And they stick to that, that's okay. However, let me also put a rider here. That is not true for everyone. For people who have a biological genetic background of alcoholism, then that is not possible for them. They can easily become alcoholics. Some people have vulnerability to become alcoholics simply because of their family line and their background. If you come from a home where people are alcoholics, it's in your blood. I mean, and this is not just saying, this is scientific information. So what that means is that you will be more vulnerable. That one will not have an effect. So you will want more. And that's how some people are alcoholics. There's a point where if you are diagnosed as being an alcoholic, you cannot take alcohol. Not 2, not 3, you cannot. You'll just be looking at people taking alcohol and wishing that you did not have the disease.
Wow. This is quite an interesting conversation. Nick says, I know a friend who always drinks and reaches level where he takes a nap for an hour, then wakes up at least half functioning and continues like he never started. This is dopamine in action.
So they take, remember, alcohol is a depressant. So for sure, alcohol will want to slow down the activities of the brain, and sleep is one of them. So if they drink and they wake up, the question is, how much do they drink? Very good. When you take 2 beers, you will sleep well. You will feel tipsy, you'll sleep well. That is not a problem. If you take 10 beers and you sleep, you probably won't even sleep, because the medulla, the balance of the brain, will start ringing in your head. And you probably will vomit. That is indication that there's too much in my system. And if you vomit, remember, your vomit does not remove the alcohol. The alcohol is already in the bloodstream. So the little amount that is left, you'll probably vomit out food, because alcohol is broken and it is absorbed very quickly in the bloodstream. So if you vomit and you sleep again, that alcohol is circulating in the system and it goes to the brain. And one of the areas it attacks the breathing part of the brain, called the medulla, at the base of the brain. So you stop breathing. That's why we say the person sleeping need to be woken up, so that they're not sleeping because the brain is shutting down. They are sleeping because the alcohol is giving them sleep. Those are 2 different things.
Wow. Wow, that is quite interesting. Now I know where would you place Kenya in terms of mental health infrastructures?
Very good question again. Kenya has really tried, because I go a lot to different countries. Kenya has really tried in terms of putting in place policies, and right from the public service, there's a policy on mental health, alcohol included, to many awareness in the private sector about how to treat mental health issues. There are 2 acts of parliament that are helpful in guiding what to do, and there's money being put in that field. And most recently, the Ministry of Health put in place a counselors and psychologists board. And I'm lucky to have been appointed to the board of the first counselors and psychologists board in Kenya through the Ministry of Health. So there is something being done, structures are being done, infrastructure being done in terms of helping that.
And allow me to piggyback on that. IHRM, in partnership with Chiromo Group of Hospitals, developed I don't want to call them regulation, I'm forgetting the name we're calling it, where it supports HR professionals on handling mental health in workplaces. I know the launch was meant to be in July. I will find out whether it's still there. And then you can take advantage of this, and especially for the people around, and it can support you in supporting other people in the workplaces. So I know the government, I know most member institutions are doing something about mental health, and I think we're making strides in the last couple of years. All right, before we end this session, allow us to give you the offers from Pathway Solutions. Kevin, had you done this, or am I late?
No.
I'm early to the party. All right, okay, sawa, sawa. So Pathway Solutions has given us an offer. So 3 people will get 2 trainings each. Kevin, you can help me put in my email address and that of Frank. Mr. Olo, do not run away. You're coming back to give us your parting shot. So
I'm here.
Okay, excellent. All right, so Pathway Solutions is offering you conflict management. This is via LMS. And then there's business, building business on social media, marketing and sales for small businesses, business plans, building a business online, and then writing a business plan will be a Zoom meeting, open for everyone and maximum 500 people. Maybe Frank, one of these fine days, you need to tell me how you intend to conduct these Zoom meetings, because we've had the adverts running for the last couple of weeks and we haven't had any. But yes, individuals will get conflict management. Please send us an email to grace@atarasolutions.co.ke and CC Frank at pathways with an S, solutions with an S as well, solutions without an S, sorry. Pathways with an S, solution without an S, and services with an S. So Frank at pathways solution services.co.uk. And Kevin has been able to put that on the chat. This is for the individuals. We also have an offer for your companies. By the way, even if you're not in Kenya and you wish to have your organization trained on this, please just email us. For the people in Kampala, Tanzania, Rwanda, the US, Canada, and blah, 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 blah. Please email us for your organization to take advantage of this. We have developing built to last is number one, and then developing new managers. We have building self-confidence. We have change management. We have customer retention strategies. We have handling complaints, and then we have hotel reception and reservation. Hotel reception and reservation, I assume, is directly for those in the hospitality industry. So please take advantage of this. These are trainings offered to you, fully sponsored. I repeat, fully sponsored. You're going to pay nothing by Pathway Solutions. They're going to spend 1.5 hours with your people via Zoom or Google Meets, and they do maximum 500 people. Oh, wow, that has increased. So 500 people, and please take advantage. And yeah, this will be offered for the training workshop is in November, because he has taken for the whole of October. Actually, I've been seeing a number of emails. So please take advantage of this and get trained, get equipped with the right information that you will need. Please remember, as you write to us an email, give us convince us why you deserve the training, because we only want to offer it to deserving people. I'm not saying that you're not deserving, but yes. And so Frank, Opondo Felix, if you scroll up, Kevin has put in, or Kevin, you've sent to host and panelists. Please send to everyone. He's sending it to everyone. And as well, Jacinta has put in a link for you to join our WhatsApp group. Please join, because we want to keep you posted as often as we can. So join us so that you can be posted on what is coming up next. We have about 8 Tuesdays to go before we end season 3, so it's not too late for you to join us, and keep it here every Tuesday. All right, and yes, tomorrow we have a conversation happening at the Capital Club for HR professionals. Kevin, if you can share that link on the chat. If you want to, it's on your WhatsApp. I can't hear you. Okay. Where are we? Oh God, you've disappeared. So before Kevin, go ahead. Before Mr. Law gives us his parting shots, we have a fireside chat happening tomorrow at the Capital Club. This is open for all HR professionals, and it has a limit of 125. So if you haven't registered, please do so tonight, so that we can see you tomorrow at the fireside chat. The link that Kevin has shared, there's an option for being there physically, and there's the option of being there on Zoom. We are using one link, and then the Zoom link will be shared with the individuals who register for Zoom. Other than that, the people who are coming physically, please, let's meet at Capital Club tomorrow at 5 o'clock. That's when the cocktail hour starts, 5 to 6. And then from 6, we sit and have a conversation around, sorry, we will sit and have a conversation around managing sick off. Yes, I know sick offs are a challenge. And yes, sick offs are a challenge for a lot of HR professionals. And tomorrow we are discussing the innovative ways of handling that, and what is the technology that we can use, and all these conversations, including the legal aspect. We have 2 very experienced employee relations experts who will be in the house, who will be supporting us on that. Please don't miss out. And Frank has said, I will pay for end of year Atara Solutions ticket for Catherine Sindandi. You better fly her to Nairobi as well. She's in Mombasa. So if you by ticket, you're saying you're paying for her flight to and fro, that is fine. I can accommodate her as well. So yeah, this is our flyer for tomorrow. We will be at Capital Club. And we are saying new frontiers in health benefits management, how to support employees' health at work and at home using technology to save sick time away from work. So if you have a challenge on sick off, we have quite an engaging panel, and I will be moderating as always, moderator of choice. So let's see you there. Yes, Catherine, you can see Frank is really busy on the chat and equipping you with coming for end of year. All right, so Mr. Olo, please come and tell us your parting shot.
So thank you, Grace. I hope I've not ruined the cocktail hour for tomorrow.
No, but, the cocktail doesn't have to have alcohol, remember.
All right, good. But even if it does, I think the key message I was trying to pass across is this, that alcohol and drugs is a real problem. It's a real problem across the country. It's a real problem at the workplace. And we need to tell people about it. We need to help people know that it is a problem. For many people I've had who have come to me in treatment and said, if only somebody told me, I would not be in the position I am in. So I encourage people to share the information. And we are always ready, especially for HR persons, to provide that as part of employee assistance program. But also to understand that at some point, the use of alcohol and drugs becomes a disease. So addiction is a disease of the brain. And when that happens, the person is no longer in charge and therefore needs to be helped. There are many ways of helping. One of them is to just identify the symptoms and refer. We can help people to know how to reduce harm. And when it becomes too much, we encourage people to seek help for ourselves as well as for our family members and employees. I want to thank Grace and Atara Solutions and your partners for this opportunity. I hope I've been of help, and thank you very much for the time.
Absolutely, you have been of great help. If you suspect anyone who is suffering alcoholism and you're looking for somebody to walk the journey with them, please reach out to Evans Olo. And if you don't have his number, of course, I'm your plug for all these experts that you bring here. We will get you to them. And if you're just looking for somebody to talk to your employees about alcoholism as well, he's available to do that. And he can train your champions in the workplaces to be able to manage alcoholism while there. So if you, for all these needs, and if you, for you personally, just he's a phone call away and he should be able to walk the journey with you, because alcoholism is an illness and like any other, and you require expert treatment for that. And will it be on Zoom or can get notes for today's webinar? What Zoom? I don't know. Tomorrow, are you talking about tomorrow? Tomorrow, yes, we will have the Zoom option. And for those who are coming physically, there's no charge, so please come. And then, yes, we do need to help our employees and ourselves as well. Frank is asking whether there'll be Zoom. I hope you're referring to the end of year. End of year, we will discuss and see. But tomorrow we have a Zoom option. Just register there and a link will be shared with you at that point. And yes, somebody is asking for the emails, Kevin. You can share the emails again. Evans number, Evans, you can type in your number probably.
Okay.
Yeah, you can type in your number so that then for those who can pick the number now, they can get to do that. And yeah, who else? What else? So I hope I'm seeing half of the people on this call tomorrow. The session is free and discussing sick-offs and the new frontier when it comes to managing illnesses in the workplace. So Evans has shared his number. EAPs can also help. I'm currently doing research on EAP. Okay, sawa, no problem. What time tomorrow? The session starts at 5. 5 to 6 is the cocktail hour. Then from 6 to 8:30, we will be having the panel discussion. And we have 2 employee relations experts who understand the law and things surrounding sick-offs. And we are putting a stop to you wondering whether WIBA covers what and NHIF covers what and what else you can do for your employees. So tomorrow, see the link, and it is at Capital Club. If you're in our WhatsApp group, I will share the Nini right now so that you can also get to catch up. Please join the WhatsApp group. I think Jacinta shared that link. And for those of you on Facebook, please as well, just share. Here is the link again, Juliet, or you can email us and we'll share the link as well. So thank you so much, guys. I think we have gone past our time. We normally try to finish slightly before 9:30, but today I can see it's slightly past 9:30. But I hope you guys have been engaged, you guys have learned, and I hope you can take something home. It doesn't help that we have these discussions and then they end here and look forward to the next Tuesday and the other Tuesday and that, and you don't implement anything. It would really mean a lot to us if you implemented the learning or the lessons you take off from here. So I think, Jacinta, please copy that email so that we can send the link to WhatsApp for the two. Right, we will put up this recording on our YouTube channel, Get It Right with Atara Solutions. And please follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions. Like our Facebook page, Atara Solutions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get It Right with Atara Solutions. We are Atara Solutions on LinkedIn as well. We can also connect with me on LinkedIn at CHRPK Grace Nzula. CHRPK Grace Nzula is my handle on LinkedIn. We are also, Atara Solutions is also on LinkedIn. We are on Facebook and YouTube, among others. So please join WhatsApp group. It will be easier to follow up and just be updated on what's happening. We also put the link to the YouTube channel there when we upload the recording. So thank you so much for your time, Kevin. Thank you so much for being here. Catherine Sidande, we appreciate you. Asante sana. Thank you so much, Evans Olo, for your time, for your expertise, and for just sharing with us. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. And I'm wondering, what are we sharing exactly on your email addresses, my people? I don't know. I don't know why you're putting, what are we sharing on email? The link to the WhatsApp group is on your chat. I don't know what your request. Anthony, what do you want us to share on your email? We normally send the thank you email as we tell you what's happening again. So if you registered for this, don't worry. We'll share with you the recording at that point. So thank you so much, people. Have yourselves a lovely, lovely night. See you next Tuesday, same time, same place, as we handle something else that affects people in employment and entrepreneurship. So by the way, it's been so long since we did entrepreneurship. Yeah, probably we'll host an entrepreneur next week. I think we have taken too big a break. But yeah, so thank you so much and have yourselves a good night. As always, Grace Nzula is my name. Trainer and HR consultant with Atara Solutions, and most people refer to me as moderator of choice. It's always a pleasure. Have yourselves a lovely, lovely, lovely night.